Hello guys, Johnny here again, and today I'm going to be bringing you a video of an installation for a 2004 Nissan 350z. What I'm going to be doing is the soft top or convertible top, however you want to call it. These cars didn't have such a good soft top that with the years, they just tend to rip and start leaving big holes into the top right here, as you guys can see. So what they do is that they sell brand new soft tops for the car. Not the smartest idea to get a used one because they're already going to be damaged. So we're going to go with a new one that we ordered online. They run approximately between $500 to $700 depending on what type of material that you want to be used for yours. I went with Stay Best, which is supposed to be a little bit more high quality. Runs you about a little bit over $600, but it'll be worth it since it will last longer and looks a lot nicer than the vinyl. So this is what we're going to be installing. This is the brand new top. It's a different material from the OEM. It's used in a lot of more fancy, luxurious cars like BMW. Here is the reason why we need to replace it. Looks like it started coming apart, and then you start getting a little bit of rips and tears here and there, which didn't happen too much on this car because I've seen other cars where this whole area is just all destroyed. But on the other side, this side is terribly destroyed. It's just completely ripped off and lets all the elements go into your interior and start damaging the insides of your vehicle, which is what we don't want. Plus, it looks completely faded and it just doesn't look good anymore. The process of removing the soft top is not a very difficult one, but it does take quite a while, so make sure you have enough time when you get started on the project. That way you don't have to leave it overnight, with no top, and then it gets dirty and stuff goes in. So make sure you have enough time to do it in one day because it does take quite a bit. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go ahead and unlatch the soft top. And then what we're going to do is open it up halfway. Okay, so let's go ahead and leave it in this particular angle where it's kind of facing straight up because we're going to need to remove this top section right here. First thing we want to do is go ahead and remove all these rubber seals that come on the soft top. For that, you need to remove clips that are here, and basically all in between. So I'm going to be using this little tool right here to kind of pry them out. When removing all the clips, which are these right here, the easiest way that I found was to use a flathead screwdriver to pop them up a little bit and then grab them with needle nose pliers to go ahead and pull them out. That way they pop out really easy because sometimes they'll get stuck on the actual rubber even after they're out of the metal. Now the next step to do after you removed all of those clips is to just pull them off. Just make sure you store them correctly so that way that you don't put them on the wrong side. So they just basically pull right off. Like that. So just go ahead and remove all of those. Okay, next we're gonna need to remove two clips that are on opposite sides of this center plastic right here, so that way we can pull it off. So just go ahead and pry them off with a little flathead screwdriver on both sides. Now after we got those clips off, we're gonna go ahead and remove this bottom plastic. It's basically just holding this on there, so we're just gonna go ahead and take it off. It's just on there by pressure. Now that that's off, we're gonna go ahead and start prying this off. Be careful, take it off clip by clip. You don't want it to snap in half and then have to go buy a new one from the dealership. Just go ahead and keep taking it off. There are little clips like this that are just holding in place, which is basically what they use for almost every single panel on these new cars now. So let's just go ahead and remove this. Now after you got that plastic off, it opens up all of these Phillips screws that we're gonna need to remove. So let's go ahead and remove all of those, so that way it basically detaches the soft top from the frame. Let's go ahead and remove that whole panel. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this to just remove them all quickly. And just go ahead and make sure you do that to all of them. Now that you have all of the Phillips screws removed, you should be able to just pry these pieces off with your hands. So this piece wasn't really connected, so just go ahead and put them to the side. I put all of them inside my cup holder just to make sure that they don't get lost. Obviously, all these top ones were a black top, and then all these were like a chrome silver finish top, just so you make sure you know where to put the screws back. These little pieces are also just pry off. They're just stuck on here, some foam that they came with. So just make sure to remember where they go and just keep the right pieces on the right side of the car and the left pieces on the left side of the car, just so that you don't accidentally mix match them. So it looks like here we're actually gonna have to take off these rivets here. So So the way that you do that is you get a drill bit and you just go ahead and drill off these top parts, and it should just pop right off. Let's go ahead and do that. So on these rivets, all we're gonna do is go ahead and drill them off. See, you just drill it off and the head comes off. Same thing for this top one. There we are, pops off. So this detaches that from there. These rubbers right here are going to be a little bit in the way also, so we're going to go ahead and remove those right now before we move on to the next part of removing it. That's how I took them off, so let's just go ahead and take off the rest of them. All you do after you remove the clip, you just go ahead and pull up. It has two other clips that are right in here, so you just make sure you pull them straight up and they'll come right out. Let's go ahead and remove the other one. Now that we have all of this removed, we're gonna go ahead and put this down a little bit so we can lift this area up, because this rubber piece right here is actually one piece that goes all the way through the back and connects to the other side. We're gonna have to lift this up so we can go ahead and remove that. Okay, there is a clip right under here that we need to remove. Basically, bottom part of the soft top right here, there's a clip that we need to remove, so we can go ahead and remove this rubber piece right here. There it is. Came out, so this enables us to move this out of the way. This is the soft top with this back piece lifted up, so we're gonna have to go ahead and remove this whole rubber. It has a clip right here, so you want to pull on it a little bit and then it pops right off. This basically just kind of holds it in place, but if you pull on it, it'll pop out of this side, and then you push on it, it'll pop out of the other side. So let's just go ahead and remove it. So let's go ahead and do the same thing to these and just remove all of the screws, holding it down. Make sure you don't lose them. So just go ahead and place them all in a safe area. And then after all of them have been removed, same process, just go ahead and pull it off. It's gonna be a little bit stuck on there. Make sure you don't bend it. Just take it off nice and smooth. There we are, this is removed. So now we have a bunch more rivets that are along this back side that we're also gonna need to drill off, taking off all the top parts of these so we can go ahead and remove the bottom part of the soft top. Let's go ahead and do that. One last thing so we can start moving this soft top around is that there is a Phillips screw right here on the bottom of this. We need to angle the roof to a position where we can actually fit a screwdriver in there. So let's go ahead and do that and then remove them both. There's one on each side. Now that we are at this point to where basically the whole soft top has been loosened up and can come off, we only need to remove certain areas like accessories. For example, the heated window has wires going to it with connectors that we need to remove, and then also we have this wire here so you guys can see. This is basically keeps this area of the soft top stretched, since this area is not bolted onto the actual frame since it's flexible. So all you need to do is go ahead and pop this off, basically like the end of the wire where it has a little ball clipped into here. All you need to do is with a flathead screwdriver just push it out, pops right out. And we're gonna have to get this out of the actual soft top. That way we can use it into the new one that we put on. Then another thing that we need to do is go ahead and remove these because the soft top is connected. It looks like it's just overlapped. All you have to do is pop them out like that. They basically just clamp on and they're not bolted, so you just pull them out and they'll come right out. So we need to get that stuff done before we can actually remove the soft top. So the first thing we are going to do is remove the connectors that go to the heated window. So they have two little push pins on the side that we want to lift up so we can pull this little cover off. We need to pull this off before we can slide off the connector. It's a two-handed job, so you're going to need your second hand to be able to unclip this. Pulling down on this at the same time that you unclip them, and it lets you do that. So now there's a little push button that we have down here that we need to press, and then at the same time we need to pull out. There we go. So all I did was push this little button down under here and then push it out or pull it out, whichever way, but it needs to go that way out. Now we're going to slide it through this pocket it's being held in. We're going to put all the wiring in through that pocket and get it out. Make sure it's not anywhere near the soft top since we're going to remove this part. Okay, so now after you remove the wire, there's just this little metal bar right here that's supposed to keep it all in place. So all you have to do is pull on the little pocket that it has and just slide it off. Remove them completely, taking out of that area. Now this is when we start detaching all this inner stuff. So to be able to remove these, you want it to be loose, so just kind of angle it up again just like we had it the first time. Now that it's loose, we can just go ahead and pull it all out. Just go ahead and remove all this area. So this part right here is a little bit difficult to remove. You can try to remove it, but since it's the old soft top, we don't really need it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take a blade to it and just cut it off. For this bottom one, this bar right here it just has Velcro on it. So just go ahead and take off the Velcro. So now the only bar that the soft top is still holding onto is this one right here. Looks like it has more Velcro, so let's go ahead and remove this Velcro. This bar was a lot easier to remove. All I did was go ahead and pull this out. Basically just overlapped under there. So you can either just cut it like I did or pull it hard enough to where it comes out. So let's go ahead and remove the soft top. Now that it's all disconnected, we can now remove the soft top. Make sure you have a friend with you to be able to remove it together. Very last thing that we're gonna do, on most of them are ripped, is actually take off these rivets, because the new one, we're supposed to rivet it on here also. It actually has those connected, and on this soft top, they apparently ripped already. With age, they went ahead and ripped. So let's go ahead and remove those rivets, and then we will be ready to install the new one. So there we go, the strap is removed, the rivets are removed. So the only thing left now are the holes where the rivets used to be. So all I did was drill straight through the rivet and straight into the metal. Make sure you have a drill bit that is the appropriate size. I'm not sure exactly if mine is the perfect size for it, depending on what rivet you're gonna use. But this one is a 3/16, so that's the one I'm using, and it removes the rivets completely without damaging too much of the actual pipe. So now that we have them removed, I'm gonna install the new straps on. This is what you're gonna need to use. If you don't have one, I recommend going to go buy one. We want to make it all factory spec again. So we wanted to have rivets just like the original one did. This was actually only like $5. You get the fancy one, it'll obviously be a lot more expensive, but this is just a kit that I bought at a place called Harbor Freight. Just something cheap, something that'll get the job done. Okay, so on the straps, what I did is I drilled a hole on these, just basically to mimic the way that the factory ones were on. Remember to put on this little metal bracket that goes on there. So what I did is I just stuck the rivets in, and they're going through this little band. I just want to try to put everything back together like it was originally designed. Okay, so after you're done, this is what it should be doing. It has like a little spongy effect. Back piece is installed, front piece is in the same with the other side. After you're done with that, the next step that you want to do is go ahead and drill out all of the rivets. So here was one of the rivets, here's another rivet. So I just went ahead and just drilled them out. So all you do is put pressure on them and just drill straight through. The drill bit that I was using was a 3/16, which seems to be a pretty good size for it. I'm not sure if it's the exact size. It all just depends on what rivet you're gonna go with. So they were actually the perfect size for the rivets that I used or that I had. Make sure you go ahead and remove them all from here, all the ones from the back. Make sure you remember to remove these rivets also. So now that the prepping step is complete, everything is removed, all the old rivets are taken off, and you have installed the new strap, which are required under warranty so they can cover your new soft top. It is time to install the new one. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do to make this install a bit easier is we're gonna bolt up this top piece first. That way when we're working on the rest of it, the top isn't falling off and we can keep it in place. So we're gonna go ahead and bolt this on. Your new soft top should come with pre-drilled holes, making it a lot easier to bolt it on. We're gonna go ahead and get this wire that we took out of the other one. It's supposed to travel through here. I should have an opening here and here. So I tried pushing it through and it was impossible. So now what I did is I got some wire. I'm just gonna grab it to the other side of this wire. I'm gonna pull it through because pushing it through wasn't working. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that with this. That was the way I found easiest. There we go, wires through, traveling through here. And on this top part, all I did was tape it so the little plastic clip that comes with it doesn't fall off or stay stuck somewhere else. And all this does is clip back onto that part. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is basically install all this interior parts that were removed. So if you wanna go ahead and clip this back on, all you do is you wrap it around, stick it in the clip, and then we're just gonna press on it. Probably get some pliers to close this little clamp that holds onto this piece. And we're just gonna go ahead and do that to all the rest of them, including getting these little pockets from the window back into this little bar that was here. Okay, so now after this one is installed, this is the very first bar that we put the soft top on. Goes over, clips on. Second part, this one right here, it extends. It has this plastic strip right here that needs to go into this one right here, into this bar. At the same time, it's gonna hold down the soft top with this Velcro right here. It has the Velcro on the bottom part. So basically it's gonna clip onto that. To get started on that, we're just gonna stick this plastic strip in there first, and then we'll hook up the Velcro. Okay, as soon as I got this top piece in, what I did, lifted it up and rolled up the Velcro underneath this pipe right here, and went ahead and Velcroed it, put the Velcro on alongside all of it. So that's how you want it to look. You want the Velcro to be perfectly on there. This is what's going to be holding on the soft top on this portion of it. Next, let's go ahead and adjust the window. Get this little pocket right here and insert it into here along with this wire that's going to be for our heater, so we can hook it up to the window. Since this back part is still loose, we still have enough flex to be able to do that. Okay, so before you install the connector, what we're going to need to do is pull it forward a little bit. You don't have to completely slide it off. It's still going to be in place when we slide it back, because we need to rivet the window onto this back part of the frame. Let me show you where that's at. Since you pulled the window up a little bit forward, we're going to go ahead and lift this flap up, and we need to rivet these. So these were previously riveted on here before, but they were already ripped on the original soft top. So we want to go ahead and rivet this on before we completely install the connectors on the window, because they won't give us enough slack to be able to rivet these on afterwards. So we're going to go ahead and rivet them on now before anything. Okay, I had to drill the holes in the soft top piece right here a little bit more so I can fit the rivets in. So as you guys can see, I put them in. All I have to do is go ahead and use the rivet gun to make sure that they stay on there. After you're done installing the rivets, it should look like this. You just want to make sure there's no sharp edges on here, that the stems were completely removed. Now we can move on to the next step and go ahead and connect the interior. So that means hook up the wires to the heated window. The next thing we have to do is go ahead and install this flap, which goes to a Velcro back here. How it should look, be Velcro strapped to this part right here, wrapping around this bar. So now let's go back out to the outside so we can rivet around the edges. Start putting on this section of the soft top. Okay, next what you want to do is go ahead and put it back into this position that we originally had it when we were removing it, and just kind of try to overlap this back piece so it knows where it's going to go later on. And here is where we're going to start wrapping this portion of the soft top back on to where it's supposed to go originally. When installing this section of the soft top, make sure that this flap stays behind the wire. So this is to protect the soft top from ripping, because this wire tends to move when we close and open the soft top. And then there's another flap down here, which is this shiny plastic one that has to go behind also. Just make sure that those are behind when installing it. Try to put that all together. So that's how it should look after you put it on. So now what we're going to do, put two rivets where the rivets were before. So let's go ahead and do that. And that's how it should look after you're done installing the rivets. Everything in place. And make sure you do the other side also before we go on to the next step. So this is how it should have turned out when you're done riveting. You want it to be perfectly flush with no wrinkles in the soft top. Have all the rivets on there. Now it's time to start putting other stuff together. Okay, so after you have it all riveted down, make sure you go ahead and check to see that the fitment is proper, that everything is in its place before we go ahead and put on all the rubber seals. This bar is supposed to go alongside this little stitching area. That way it conforms to the soft top correctly. Inside, right here, it needs to be inside of it, this bar, so that way when it's like going down and coming back up, this bar right here travels through the inside of this whenever needed. All that's holding it is just this Velcro. Make sure you put that Velcro on correctly. That way the soft top closes and opens properly. So it looks like the fitment that we got on it is perfect. Everything is fitting properly. It looks good. We just need to go ahead and finish the installation. Let's go ahead and do that. So what we're gonna do is open it back up. Now that we're gonna go ahead and install these brackets, make sure you remove these little clips that are on both edges and put them back on the rubber piece that's going to go on here. Go ahead and put them back, that way when we install it, they clip right on. That way this isn't in the way. So now the next step we're going to do is go ahead and put the bolt that goes under here. So put the soft top back in this original position that we had it when we removed it, so that way we can have the best chance of getting to this area. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and put all of the brackets that go alongside the soft top so we can start putting it all back together. So there we go, all the brackets are on now. Just make sure you place the bolts in the same areas that they were before. You'll see like little scratch marks from where they were. That way you can go ahead and try to line it up like it was, from factory. That way you have the perfect fitment and your seals actually work and seal so water doesn't get in. So now let's go ahead and install this top piece. Make sure you go ahead and do it on the other side. Okay, now we're gonna install this piece. Just make sure that all of your clips are in the right place. If some of them are still stuck there, go ahead and pry them off and just put them on. Very easy to install and remove on this piece. So just make sure they're all on there to be able to clip it on properly. The first thing you want to do is go ahead and lift up this, slide it in, and make sure all of your clips line up, and then just go ahead and clip it in. Okay, now the next step is just to go ahead and install all of the rubber pieces back. So this is the back piece that goes along all the back side. Now the clips that we removed, let's go ahead and slide them back in. So where they go, so that way when we put it on, it clips right on. Just remember to do it on both sides. Since we're going to be installing the rubber linings or the rubber seals, now what I did is went ahead and lifted it up again so we can go ahead and install this bottom one first, and then we're going to curve it up to install it on this portion. Okay, so now after you have this rubber seal installed, we're gonna go ahead and lift it up again so we can hook up this part of the seal. So we can put the little clip that goes under here also. So we're gonna go ahead and put this one, put this piece, and then put this piece. So let's just make sure that they all seat on there properly, because you don't want them falling off later on when you are trying to open the roof again, or opening a door, or the window catches it. So let's put them on correctly. So let's go ahead and get them perfectly in between here. So all you have to do is kind of twist them a little bit, just get them into the groove, and then we're gonna put the clips on. So let's go ahead and do that. Now this can be installed whenever. I'm gonna be installing it towards the end, but it could have actually been installed along with this plastic piece. Very easy to do. If this piece is not wanting to stay on, what you can do is kind of clamp it a little bit with your hands or with some pliers. That way it closes a little bit, and then it has a lot more pressure to hold on. The very last thing you will need to do is to vacuum. After all of those metal shavings that we got when we started drilling to drill out the rivets, that is the very last step, because they will be everywhere in your car, and that will be the end. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments below. Thanks again. Please leave a like. You have a great day.